fix my phone. Um, so what made you and then I guess that's the reason why you're passionate about everything. You know what I mean? That's what
Pretty
makes you
much, yeah.
passionate. You know, you fix yourself and now you're fixing others and you're leading the way, and I think that's fantastic. So why do you think people live with pain instead of addressing it?
Because it's easier. It's
Yeah,
it's always easier to just try and brush things under the rug. It's obviously not easy to live with pain, but realistically, it's going to be a hard journey to get yourself out of that hole. And I think obviously there's an aspect of like our current healthcare system not being super accessible to a lot of people and it making it really difficult to, of course, get medical help if that's the case. But even if we step back and it's not necessarily a medical issue and it's more so something that can be fixed with like corrective exercise or things like that, it's hard, A. B, they just don't know. If you didn't grow up playing sports or you didn't grow up around fitness, you might not know that it's super relatively straightforward to correct an impingement or something like that. You just don't
yeah,
have access to that.
yeah.
Everyone's algorithms are different on all their different social medias, and like they're probably not getting fitness influencers and yada yada yada. Like they're getting sourdough making and they're getting like dancing videos and all that dumb shit, and like they don't know, they just have no
Yeah.
clue
Yeah,
unless they
do
were
this
to
for
dive
your
into
meniscus
it.
tear. Do the salsa.
Yeah, and so it's also scary to make a change. Trust me, like it took me a long time to want to get sober, and then when I did it, and it sucked real bad, but
Yeah.
like it was worth it, obviously, because I'm healthy and happy and alive and
Mhm.
not drinking so much that I could kill a small animal. But it's it's hard. It's hard to make that change, and I
Yeah.
think people are just afraid of what it's gonna take, cost, and feel like to do.
No, I totally agree. I think you hit that on the head. I think people it's easier to sweep their problems under the rug than actually face them.
Yeah.
And I think society has done that to them. You know what I mean? And it's
Oh,
done
yeah.
to a lot of people, even me and you. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Just keep your
We
head down. It's just
yeah,
easier.
keep your head down, sweep it on the rug. Don't you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Don't say nothing. Just let it go, and you'll be okay. And
Yeah.
it's not how it goes. And yeah, that's the biggest misconception. I think that's probably one of the biggest misconceptions people have about pain too,
Mhm.
is that it's okay to be with him when really there's something that you can do
Yeah.
to fix it, and it only takes
And it
what?
might not be extreme.
No, 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 and it's not. And it takes what? 6 weeks to 6 to 8 weeks to actually change a muscle.
Yeah.
You know what
Yeah,
I
it can
mean?
be
So I
really
mean,
easy. It just also requires them wanting to do it and participating, because like
exactly.
you could come in once a week, you're not going to see that progress the same way. Like if you actually do your homework and pay attention to what you need to be doing and maybe actually make some changes, you will see some progress.
That's
But
what I'm saying.
that's part of it, is their willingness to actually want to do it. That's a big part of it. Buy-in is huge in the fitness,
What
realm.
we'll get right back to that one. You know what I mean? We'll talk
Yeah.
about the mindset of the people. But you know what? Actually, let's just say it now. What makes them not want to fix themselves?
Yeah, that's a really good question. I
I couldn't
think
let that
part
one
of
go. I had to hit it now. I had
yeah,
to ask it now.
I think a lot of it could potentially be outside influences asking them to make a change and they're not fully bought in. It could be a partner or a parent or a sibling or a friend being like, you have to go to lose weight or fix this or do whatever. Or maybe it's even a doctor saying, like, you are headed towards type 2, like, you need to get this under control. And they just might not want to. Like,
Yeah,
again, the same reason why I never stopped drinking when I should have, because I didn't want to. It's as simple as that. And
yeah.
you cannot do something that's going to be difficult and arguably uncomfortable if you are not 100% bought in. I think that's part of it. And I think also it's hard to have impulse control, and it's really hard to control cravings and or be dedicated to doing, for lack of a better word, physical therapy type exercises that like aren't super fun. They're not as rewarding as like hitting a PR on bench or deadlift or squat or something like that. Like, yeah, it obviously is boring to do band work or, work with a ball or, things that are not very exciting looking and feeling. But, it's not necessarily the journey. In this case, it is actually with the destination. So,
Yeah.
you know, it's dull and not super exciting, but in 6 to 8 weeks, you might actually feel a little bit better, and you might actually, be able to raise your arms above your head, or you might be able to bend over without pulling your lower back. I mean, there's things that you will see. It's just not going to be as instant gratification as maybe people hope it's going to be.
Yeah. No, I totally agree, and then also, I think we should stop focusing on the adults so much and start worrying about the kids and tell them how to move properly and just literally
Yeah.
skip a whole you know what I mean? Wait 10, 15 years, the
Yeah.
disappointment rate for back pain is gonna go down. You know what I mean?
Probably, yeah, and I mean, there's other issues with that, like, screen time and stuff. We're seeing even now people's having more forward, posture just because they're spending so much time looking down at their phones, and
Yeah,
eyesight is getting worse, and carpal tunnel is increased because of people spending time on
like,
iPads and computers, and it's just like,
looking like a turtle and shit, you know, like,
yeah, man,
it's bad,
technology
dude.
has helped us a lot, but it's also brought us down a pretty dark path. Wally, great movie, pretty spot on when you think about it. It's done an incredible job predicting the future.
Yeah, I would say so too. I mean, you do see the VR glasses, you know what I mean? Just like The Simpsons, when the Simpsons
Yeah,
episode when they had the
man.
VR
Yeah,
glasses on and they were walking around, I'm like, "Bro,
it's not
that's like"
great. It's not great.
I'm not gonna well, I mean, don't get me wrong, I was talking to Chris about this the other day. I was like, if you use AI for a tool, then good. Don't let it make you the tool. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Sure.
so I mean, do your thing, but I mean, I got AI. I use AI, and I got VR glasses. But you don't see me walking down the streets with those bitches. You know?
Moderation.
Yeah,
Everything in moderation, I
moderation. A
suppose.
lot of moderations. So when people have this pain, should they like train through it, or should they? I mean, what's the steps there?
Yeah, no, I mean, we don't pain is your body's way of telling you something is wrong. You don't work through pain. There's obviously discomfort. You can work through discomfort if you're trying to improve upon something. That's completely different, in my opinion, than pain. Pain is pain. Pain is when you stub your toe and it hurts like a motherfucker. That's pain.
Yeah.
So if you're making a movement and it hurts, it's not like, ooh, I'm kind of sore. Ooh, that stretches. If it hurts, that's your body's way of saying, like, you got to stop, man. Like, something is not right here. And that's when it's time to address it with a professional. Realistically, my advice would always be to go to a medical professional first, and see what they have to say. It may not even be that serious, and they may say, okay, you just need to train X, Y, and Z, or go to physical therapy or whatever. But at the end of the day, trainers are not doctors. I'm sure there are some doctors who are trainers, but at the same time, look, we are not medical professionals.
Yeah.
I don't have MRI, I don't have X-ray, I don't have blood work, I don't have the ability to see what's going
I
on.
just see
I
your
can make a
skin.
Yeah, I can make an educated guess. Like, I mean, sure, I could give you some recommendations to fix some shoulder pain, but at the same time, if you have a torn rotator cuff, I can't really tell that. I could guess, but I can't 100% verify that that's the case.
When you say "ow, ow, ow,
So,
ow, ow," you know, yeah.
sure, and, like, you could either be super tight, maybe you also hurt yourself 15 years ago and never did anything about it, and that's a big thing too I see a
Yeah.
lot is people who are like, "Oh, well, I fell out of a tree and I dislocated my shoulder and then I, tore this and that," and then I was like, "Okay, did you go to the doctor?" "Oh, no, I kinda just it just fixed itself." I'm like, "Well, it didn't fix itself, clearly, because now you can't raise your hand over your head."
Yeah,
So there's a lot of stuff where it's these really old injuries that people, again, don't address for
yeah,
reasons that will probably remain unknown. And then all of a sudden they think that there's a miracle cure for them. And it's like, no, this is going to be a super long process. And in fact, you need to see a doctor because you might need surgery. Like, if you've torn something that never repaired itself properly, there's a chance that it needs to be repaired by a doctor. But that's up to them to make that decision. But that is always my recommendation first is you need to see medical professional first and then come talk to me.
yeah, yeah, talk to your doctor. I mean, and that's for everything. If you're on blood pressure medicine, if you have any tours, like, I mean,
Yep.
anything that if you're going to the doctor for anything, you go to them first and then to a trainer. Um, that is probably the fastest way to make progress.
Yeah, I need some sort of clearance from a medical
Yeah.
professional if you think there's something really wrong.
Yeah, yeah, and then and you pretty much just differentiated from soreness and pain and, like, muscle soreness when you did glutes 2 days ago, and then you
Yeah,
kinda hit that on the head as well, you know, and there's a good separation between, like, "Oh my god, I
being
pulled my wrist."
uncomfortable is fine.
Yeah,
Being uncomfortable is good. Like, you want, being uncomfortable typically is a sign that, whether it's in your head or in your body, like, you're stepping outside of your comfort zone to make a positive change is the idea. That's fine.
yeah,
Pain is not. Pain
correct.
is pain. You know,
Correct.
that's not the same thing. Like it
Yeah.
should, same thing with stretching. People are like, "Oh, it hurts really bad, and I'm just gonna stretch through it." Well, can't do that either. Like if it's painful, you got to back off a little bit and work your way up to that. Like I'm not expecting you to wrap your legs behind your head and just like
Start
let it
doing
happen and
yoga
make it.
after. Yeah.
Yeah,
You
no.
can't do yoga? You said
So
spine surgery. What the fuck?
yeah,
Yeah.
so it's a matter of respecting your own boundaries and working up to stuff because the body is super adaptable and it's very malleable, but not overnight.
Yeah,
You
I
know,
mean, it's
we're
designed
not
that way.
Gumby.
Yeah, it's
Hmm.
designed to take on everything you throw at it. So if you're just
Yeah,
gonna sit there all day, that's what it's gonna take on. You know what I mean? It is
yeah,
what it is. If you're gonna work out, well, all the muscles are gonna kick on. It's gonna adapt to what you're doing.
yeah.
Um, when in the gym, what is the most common injury that you see the most? Well, let me rephrase that. What is the most common injury the client has when coming into the gym?
I'd say shoulder or knee. Those are
Shoulder and
two are
knee?
incredibly shoulder and knee would probably be tied for first realistically, especially in my clients who are older than, let's say, 50,
Right.
realistically. Whether it's from a repetitive movement from work or an old injury, or there's a numerous amount of things that could have gone wrong throughout their lives that and they just never addressed it. That's really where a lot of it comes from, is just like the lack of accountability on their part for taking care of it when it potentially happened.
Yeah.
I see people who were in car accidents that never really did anything to fix injuries that they thought weren't that big of a deal. And now, 20 years later, lo and behold, it is a big deal. So it's typically a joint in that it's like knee and shoulder are definitely the top ones. Hips are up there too. I've got people with wrist and elbow and things of that nature, but more often than not, it's impingements in the shoulders or in the knees that are preventing from making significant progress or feeling pain,
Yeah.
quite frankly.
No, 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 I agree too. And then, and is usually the shoulder pain, or is the knee pain, or is it like something else?
I mean, again, it could be stemming from something else. That's super case by case. There could be a lot of issues. Everything is connected to the spine, right? So, it could be very simple. Like maybe there actually is something going on in their lower back. It's radiating down. It's causing issues. Maybe their gait is a little off because of an ankle injury that actually feels fine, but it's throwing the hip and the knee off because they're slightly limping and they don't even realize it.
Yeah.
So there's things that all radiate, and it's not always just that spot. That's why you can't just focus on the micro issue. You got to take a macro approach and figure out like what else is going on. Like, let me see your
Mhm.
posture. Let me see you bend over. Let me see you take good of a squat as you can. Let's figure out how the rest of your body is moving and potentially figure out, is it that joint or is that just a side effect from something
Something else.
else that has
Yeah.
occurred? And that's part, that's also, it's interesting to go through that and play detective and try and figure it out. But it's sometimes you just can't quite figure it out, and that could be partly because maybe they're not being honest with you about what's going on. Maybe there was an injury. Maybe you don't know. At the end of the day, we're relying on them to be perfectly honest with us. And some
Yeah.
people have a hard time sharing things. And, who knows? Maybe they do something that's a repetitive motion that they don't feel comfortable talking about.
Yeah.
Or maybe they were in an accident that they're embarrassed about and they don't want to talk about it. Who knows? So again, we try our best, but at the end of the day, we're not a medical professional. And
Which I don't see
people
how.
sometimes,
I mean, we might as well be at that point. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, I'm
for real.
happy I didn't have, yeah, I'm happy I
Yeah. I
didn't have to go
mean,
through 8 years of school to do this, but
that's what I'm saying.
that,
Like, it
yeah,
takes a while. I mean, the book's not, it's not fucking,
no, no, no,
it's a
that
thick ass
sucks.
book, dude.
Yeah,
And that's just,
NASA's the hardest one. People forget that.
mm,
Everyone else has got their other crackerjack certifications that
that's
you can
what
get
I'm
in a weekend,
saying.
but the NASA one it was tough. It's a proctor test.
Yeah.
It was not easy.
Book. This book right
So
here, actually, I have it in my library. I mean,
I got mine over there.
it's a
Yeah, mine's
thick
sitting around. I'm
book,
not getting rid of
dude.
that.
No, I
It's
don't.
a
I would never.
$2,000 book.
Yeah, I got one, two, three. I got three more over there on top of each other. But yeah, it's
Yeah,
a good book.
and my corrective exercises through them, my stretching and flexibility
Hmm.
coaches through them, physique and bodybuilding. Like I just trust them the most. I don't have any certifications that are not NASA.
Yeah,
It's just to me that's the way to go. And so this is sure just a big advertisement for them, but their product does speak for itself.
but it does.
And
It does. It 100% does. And then and I remember taking the test. It was not easy. I mean, I was
it was
watched
hella hard.
by a hawk for like You know what
Yeah.
I mean? Like, I couldn't make a
There was no cheating.
sound. Yeah, it was
There was no
insane.
cheating. You know,
None at
everyone's like,
all,
"Oh,
dude.
I just used AI to pass my test," and I was like, "Wasn't an option
Mm,
for me."
well, guess what? I don't need AI. I know what I'm
No,
doing.
no,
You know
yeah.
what I mean?
It is nice. That is nice. You
You
know, it is
know
nice when people actually having the answers instead of being like, "I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. It just yeah, I don't. It could be good, could be bad."
yeah. Go ahead and try, grab some dumbbells. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's always I always love seeing that when people put people through workout when trainers go ahead and put someone through a workout that just doesn't fit them, isn't safe
When
for
they
them,
should
and
be
it's
on
just
the
like,
machines and they're overdoing the fucking single leg lateral raise, you know what I mean?
yeah,
Which is a
uh-huh.
superset exercise, you know?
Yeah, but it's
But
all good. We work around that. That's kinda also the problem is with commercial gyms, and sometimes trainers are not as qualified as they should be, but it's all good.
but if you're smart, you'll become master trainer
Yeah,
or own your
yeah,
own
so
business. I mean,
it's
either way, you're gonna run the gym. So, and and I can see you stand out more than a lot of people with that NASM training. And just
thank you.
saying NASM, it's a whole people know what it is. It's not like
Yeah,
it's not some rinky dinky thing. It's a big, big ordeal in the fitness training, and it's
yeah, it is.
yeah. So, well, we talked about one thing, like well, let's talk about recovery. So, I mean, technically, you need to recover. We're talking about recovery from these injuries and then going through the pain and stuff. What does recovery actually mean? I mean, am I just going to sleep? Am I watching Netflix on TV? Like, what am I doing? Like, I mean, what is recovery? Like,
Yeah, sleep is a huge part of it. People forget about that. It's really hard to get 8 hours of sleep in this day and age, especially
yeah,
if you have kids, if you have to work 2 jobs, if you have mental health, concerns, if you're anxious, if you're depressed. Like, there's a lot of factors in today's America that unfortunately prevent people. Blue light addiction, having a hard time putting the phone down. Like, we abuse the hell out of our bodies, and
yeah,
sleep is truly one of the best ways to recover. That is true.
mhm.
That's not just a myth. If you can get as close to 8 hours as you can, you'd be surprised at how much you do recover. Diet is a huge component of recovery. Going to the gym doesn't mean you now get to go get a crazy fast food meal or eat an entire pint of ice cream that you want to, covered
Can't
in
get two
chocolate
double
M and M's
doubles
and
every
stuff.
day, you know?
You could, but there's going to be some, that
You're
you're gonna pay the
recovering.
piper at some point. Yeah.
Yeah,
So diet is a huge part of it, and also consistency. Stretching is really important.
mhm.
Hydration, obviously, is really, really important as well. And that doesn't mean the salt packets. I think those are a absolute curse on the fitness industry. No one needs 1,200 milligrams of sodium when they just come and walk on the
It's
treadmill
like
for
borderline
30
limit.
minutes. It's
Or
bad. It's
that's
really
a
bad.
yeah.
Americans have a really salt-filled diet already. There is sodium in fucking everything that we consume. Unless you are a marathon runner working outside for 12 hours in
You're
the
trying to
scorching
retain
heat,
water all day as much as you can.
yeah, you do not need these element packets and like, no, you don't need that. Like, they taste good, but you know what also tastes good? Mio. Just fucking add flavor to your water.
And
Like, put
B6 and
lemon.
B12, dude, you're fine.
Yeah, just
Oh,
it
yeah, a
doesn't
Fresca.
need that
I
shit.
mean, it's like
Yeah,
a Fresca, watermelon, lemon, cucumbers, you know what I mean? You can put all those
all that shit.
antioxidants in there and it'd be fine.
Yeah. So, that is really a tough that's always tough when I see that, but neither here nor there. The water is unbeatable. Making sure, and again, you don't need to drink a gallon a day, but it's a good idea to start with 64 ounces and just kind of see where you feel. That's kind of an arbitrary number. Some people survive on less, some people need a lot more, but you don't need to force feed yourself a gallon of water every
Yeah.
single day. Urine obviously is a good predictor of that. We're looking for pale yellow people. We're not looking for clear. Clear is not good. We don't have enough electrolytes. Dark
Mhm.
amber, also not good. So a
Yeah,
nice,
too
a
much
nice
soda.
pale yellow, a really
Yeah,
weak lemonade is what we're looking for here. So aim for that. Use that as your guide.
yeah.
But we also don't want to be up at all hours of the night taking a pee because then you're not going to get your 8 hours of sleep. So whether you want to do a full day, like dedicated day in the week for quote unquote recovery, that's fine. But we should be trying every day to do a little bit of something, whether it's using a percussive therapy gun, foam rolling, static stretching, yoga, anything along those lines, going for just like a really low impact walk, That's all really good stuff, and it should be incorporated multiple times a week to try and feel a lot better. But again, diet, water, and sleep are going to be your best friends in regards to feeling a lot better.
Yeah. No, I totally
And
agree.
not overtraining, not overtraining. You know, you see a lot of people, fitness influencers who are like, "No days off." Yeah, days off. Always days
No,
off
days
because
off.
like you start overtraining, you're gonna zap your central nervous system,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
and you're gonna feel like shit. You're not gonna make any progress, and you're probably gonna get sick.
Yeah.
Because when your CNS is shit, most of your body is shit. And you know, if your immune system is compromised, you're gonna get sick.
You're not,
So
and then
it's
you're
pretty
gonna 2 weeks off, and then you're gonna lose like 4 weeks in the gym progress, and like in a week, it gets all bad.
and then it gets up in your head, and you know, so yes, it's a you do need to take time off.
Yeah.
um a shit ton of progress can be made with just 3 really tough lifting days. Like, it doesn't need to be a 7-day split. You can, so shit, you could even do a 2-day split with a good amount of, like, additional cardio and still make some muscular gains.
Yeah.
It's all about how willing you are to push yourself to failure, and actual working those muscles. Coming in and doing 3 sets of 10 that are easy weight, yeah, we're not going to see much progress anytime soon. But consistency is key, but also listening to your body. And if you didn't get a good night's sleep, you realistically are not going to have a great gym day. It might be okay, but maybe you need to just walk on the treadmill for a little bit and focus on coming home and taking a nap or going to sleep early. It's all about repaying that sleep debt and trying to recover a little bit more to take care of your mental health and making sure your body's primed and ready to go.
Yeah, it's all about finding that balance. It's finding the balance,
Which is
finding
hard. I agree. I
it's
get
hard,
that.
but it's achievable if you try to attain it. I mean, once you start trying to find that balance, it will balance out. It balances. It will balance
Yeah.
itself out. Um, what's the biggest mistake they do while recovering? Not getting enough recovery, or I mean, like what? I mean, is there a fine line of too much recovery, like, or
There could be. There could be. I think a big thing that I see a lot is when people are first starting out, they go too hard at first. And then they're crazy, crazy sore, which is completely understandable. And then they take 2 weeks off because they're afraid to go back in, and they don't want to
Mhm,
get sore again, and they don't want that. So I think moderation is a huge helper in that regard. And I think people also, when they're first starting out, they kind of just hit the whole body every single time, which is a very valid approach
mhm.
when done and applied
Correctly,
correctly.
yeah.
Yeah, not I'm gonna do everything as heavy as I can for every body part. I'm gonna spend 3 hours in the gym on my first day. I'm gonna do every machine that I can find. I'm gonna look up YouTube videos. I'm gonna figure this out. I'm gonna do it all. Yeah, you're gonna hurt bad, and it's not gonna be fun. And then realistically, like, if you're trying to shed 25, 50, 75, 100 pounds, I'm willing to go out on a limb and say your diet isn't 100% great. No shade. I'm just like, so
Sounds like you've been
realistically,
in the game a while.
you're probably not going to go home and have a super healthy recovery dinner.
Yeah,
You're going to probably so there's a lot of ways to spin out of control in that regard. Um
yep,
so I think taking too much time off, there obviously is a downside. I think, the concept of a cheat meal gets abused. I think that's a huge concept as well, where they're like, well, I was good all week. I'm going to go have 6,000 calories at Cane's or Chick-fil-A.
who was The Rock?
Don't do that. Yeah, don't do that. Yeah, don't get me
I
started
mean,
on The
it must
Rock.
be
Like,
The
he can
Rock or
eat like
John
that.
Cena,
Yeah.
or like you gotta be dude, or Brock Lesnar or
Or
something.
or taking a shit ton of performance enhancers.
Yeah,
You're gonna
yeah,
eat like
yeah.
an animal if you're on PEDs.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
yeah, I mean, shit, if I took a bunch of fucking anabolic steroids, I could eat like an absolute raccoon and nothing would happen.
Exactly.
Um, so within, I think at the end of the day, the too much recovery can be a downside, but that's why it does help to get some guidance. Obviously, hiring a trainer is going to be the most effective way, but at the same time, having like an accountability partner is really important too. Someone that you can share your journey with. Whether it's your husband, wife, boyfriend, girlfriend, brother, sister, friend, whatever. And they may not be experiencing the same journey as you. But if you can at least have someone that you can share wins and struggles with, I think that's really important to hold yourself a bit more accountable,
Yeah,
and actually progress through plateaus and lulls and pain points. And it's just good to have a sounding board. And I think that's why, a lot of my clients have stuck with me because I do listen and I do even if it's just something silly about their life. Like I'm here to listen. If you want to come in for an hour, really only work out for 30 and talk for 30, it's your time, it's your money. We'll do what you want to do. Like
Yeah,
I'm not a drill sergeant. Like this isn't the military, you're paying me. So if this is how you want to spend your paid time,
yeah,
I'm here. Like if you want to
yeah.
be a if you want me to be your little therapist and we'll do a little bit of working out and chilling, that's cool. Like I'm cool with
How
that.
often does it actually happen with the therapy?
It's a lot.
A
I
lot.
mean,
It's a lot.
I'd say like 40 or 50% of my clients really share quite a bit with me, and that's fine. I
Yeah,
don't mind at all. I enjoy being someone that they're comfortable with. I enjoy being also someone that can be an objective listener
mhm,
and kind of almost give advice from a third party perspective because I'm not their husband, I'm not their brother, I'm not in any way related to the environment.
yeah,
So
I mean,
I
outside looking
enjoy
in,
that
yeah,
aspect. Yeah,
yeah,
I enjoy
outside
being
looking
able
in.
to, and I always, I tell people like, you don't have to take my advice, but like, this is kind of what I've garnered from listening to what you've been saying. Like, have you ever thought about this? And I think at the end of the day, they enjoy having someone that can impart a little bit of a
Empathy. Have
different
a little
take.
bit
Yeah.
empathy for your people,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? And, like, they're everyone's human, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? And we all just need to get along and help each other lift. I
Yeah.
I I
Yeah.
totally
That's
agree.
true.
I totally agree.
We're,
So
we're
how do you
social creatures by nature.
Oh, yeah, 100%. Yeah, well, some are antisocial, 100%.
True. Inherently, on the
Yeah.
majority,
The
we're
majority are
social. We're
antisocial, but
pack animals. We
we're
are pack animals for
supposed
the
to
most
be
part.
social animals. We're supposed to be talking. We're supposed to be doing this. We're supposed to interact
Yeah.
with one another, you know, and then it's we're supposed to just help the world move along. Um,
True.
so when do you know someone's ready to return to exercise from an injury or from a corrective standpoint?
Yeah, I mean, if it's an injury, I would love some medical clearance. That to me is kind of paramount. At the end of the day,
Yeah,
they're going to know best. I always rely on medical professionals for that, especially if it's coming back from a surgery or it's coming back from a severe injury. I do need that before it's like I don't want them to be like, yeah, I feel fine. I don't fucking know if you feel fine. Like I would love a professional to be like, you're good to go.
yeah,
Um, if it's something minor, I think running them through kind of a bit of a, for lack of a better term, kind of a mobility test just to see what's going on. And then working your way back up. Obviously, we're not going to then start right back where our PRs were before. We got to take a step back and kind of see how things respond in that regard.
yeah.
And so, yeah, ease back in. We don't take the boat and go all the way out and then immediately start deep sea diving. We're going to walk into the ocean and we're going to kind of test the waters, see how we float, see if we feel good going under the water
Check for shards.
before.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah. Let's check the equipment, make sure that we're good to go before we're just like, fuck it, we're going all the way down to 300 feet. Like, it's just not, that's just not, I'd
no, that's
much rather
real.
take the extra time to make sure someone is comfortable mentally too. It can be scary to come back from an injury. So it's really good for me to build them a strong base again, and we're going to get back up to the top of that pyramid again. They know that they've been higher and they know that they've done better, but you can't let that discourage you when you're coming back from an injury. We've all been there. We've all pulled a hamstring, we've all tweaked our back, slept on our neck wrong, little things even like that. You do get back to where you were. You just have to let
Yeah,
your body recover and take the time to take care of yourself mentally and physically and slowly get back into it with safe, hopefully guided movement.
yeah,
Um, and so that way you can get back to where you were. Because again, the body, like we talked about before, is super resilient. It wants to be fixed and it wants to perform correctly, but it sometimes needs some help. It's really smart, but it's really fucking stupid. Like at the end of the day, our body is just really concerned about staying alive, not necessarily about performing 100%. It
yeah,
sometimes needs a little bit of guide rails to perform at a maximum level.
yeah. Our bodies are designed for comfort. They don't
Yeah.
it's not designed for like hard work. Your body's gonna wanna ramp down. Let's go down. Let's take the elevator, not the stairs. You know what I mean? Your body's gonna
Yeah.
wanna do that. And it's naturally so. And that's how yeah, that's how most people are where they are today. Um, so we were talking about the stepping zones, filling their feet in the water, and like rebuilding their confidence into the gym and like getting that back up there. What did that look like for you? How did you get someone's confidence back up in the gym? Like specifically, how do you do it?
Yeah. I mean, As cliche as it is, as it sounds, smart goals are really important, making sure something is attainable, trackable, etc.
Nerd.
And
You nerd. No, no,
yeah,
no,
yeah, I
no.
hate to
It's
say it.
true. It's
It's
true.
pretty lame, but it's
Yeah.
true. There's a reason why that exists. So again, I'm not like, all right, you see that all the way in the distance? We're gonna get no, no, no. We look
Yeah.
100 yards forward and we focus on, all right, like, hey, I know we used to squat 200 pounds, but you know what? You just blew your knee out. It's fixed. We're ready to go. We're starting with the bar, baby. And like when we're feeling good, moving the bar around, when you're like, this is stupid, well, then guess what? Then we're gonna go a little bit heavier and a
Yeah.
little bit heavier. And like we gotta just progressively overload it. It sucks, but like the body, muscle memory is not just a phrase. It does exist. And it's a fraction of the time to get back to where you were versus the initial path up to that peak. And so, like, oh man, it took me like 2 years to get, well, it's not gonna take 2 years to get back there again. All right. It's gonna take us a few months, but we have to re-engage and re-educate these muscles to move properly. And so a lot of it also is positive motivation. That's I
Mhm.
really believe the way I train is very positive reinforcement. I don't put people down. I'm not like, oh, you're a fucking pussy, like you need to do more. That's just not who I am. Like for me, it's just like it is applauding successes and small wins and reminding them like you are doing a great job. You've made the hardest decision of all by coming into the gym, asking for help, and then actually applying that help.
Yeah.
And we are going to get you back to where you were, but we're going to do it safely so that way we don't fall off the rails again or we don't injure ourselves again. Because having an injury, a re injury, is even worse. We don't want to mess up your knee or tear something again. It, bones heal, but tendons and muscles and things like they have a hard time after an injury. We have to really slowly re-educate them and retrain them, without pissing them off. And it takes time, but it does happen.
Oh no, I think you're 100% right. And then me being 90% disabled, with my low back injury,
Yeah.
it's taken me years to get where I'm at. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But there's no way I'm going backwards. You know what I mean? Like,
No.
there's no
No.
way because yeah, yeah, yeah. And yeah, the progressive overload works. Adding 5 to 7 pounds a week to every exercise you do, or even just 2 pounds a
I
week.
was gonna say,
It
yeah,
just
it can
even
even
like
be
if
a
it's
fucking half a
two
pound if it has to
half a
be.
pound, 2 pounds. If you're doing a half a pound to a pound a week on every exercise you do, you're doing progressive overload correctly.
You're gonna build muscle.
You're
It
gonna
may not
build
be the
muscle.
fastest thing you've ever seen, but it's gonna
It's
happen.
gonna
Because guess
happen.
what? It's I always I always quote, the book and the movie Holes, where they're talking about and then you'll take Madame Zeroni to the top, where he's bringing the
Yeah,
little piglet up. Like every day, if you do a little bit more as the pig is getting heavier and heavier, it will be doable to carry the full pig to the top of the mountain. But if you just expect to go up and grab a pot-belly pig, it's going to be heavy as shit. But if you start carrying it every single day from a baby, that's what progressive overload is. It's just as it gets heavier, you're going with it and you're making those same gains and staying consistent. And then all of a sudden, you're at the top and you're like, holy shit, I did it.
yeah,
So it it's
yeah.
very straightforward stuff. It's just people don't want to track or they don't want to do it. Or they get very comfortable with 3 sets of 10 just because like
That's what
I
you were
like this
told to
weight. I,
do.
I think, yeah, I don't want to get bulky. And it's like, girl, you're not gonna get bulky if we just put on like if we do this safely, like if you start eating 600 grams of carbs and
This is
start
gonna
doing
get
some,
bulky.
yeah, we'll get you bulky if you want, but like if you want to just build some really lean muscle, let's focus on your diet. But progressive overload is a must. Like, that's just a myth of just like, well, I don't do upper body because I don't want bulky arms. And it's like, yeah, that's not how that's gonna work.
And I was gonna
We
say
got to work
most
out the arms.
girls, I wouldn't say most girls, but I would say most mothers progressive overload, and they don't even know it. They be carrying the kids around all day for
There you
months
go.
and
Yeah.
months and months, and then you have this fucking
Yeah.
2 pound baby on her hip, and she's like, "Oh, you can't carry. I carry this all day." Like
Uh-huh.
it's completely possible. And I'm gonna tell it to
It's
the men out
nature's
there,
way of getting
yeah,
stronger.
it is what it is, and then people do it all day, and they don't even realize it.
No, it's
Mm-mm.
true.
And then that's how they create muscle imbalances because they do so much of that one, they don't realize what they're doing too, and then they got to reset a little bit. Going back to what you said, gonna have to reset a little bit too. So
Hmm.
it's a catch 22 around the whole.
Yeah, and muscle imbalances always also happen with like, well, it kind of hurts when I do my left leg, so I really only do my right leg.
Well,
So
your
we can't
left
do
leg's
that.
gonna hurt even more now, you
Yeah.
know?
We gotta make sure we keep everything even, and we gotta figure out where that's coming from.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
always really important.
Can injuries make someone stronger mentally?
Absolutely. It's basically overcoming adversity is a big part of it. You know, it is it is almost like going through those stages of grief, essentially. You're gonna go through denial and you're gonna get upset, and then there is acceptance at a certain point. And you have to understand that it's happened, it's over, it's done. We can't be like, "Oh, I shouldn't have done that. I shouldn't have done this. I wish this didn't happen." I wish a lot of shit didn't happen in my life. Trust me. But like we
Mhm.
cannot go backwards. Not yet. We haven't figured that out yet. But we can't change the past. All we can do is really focus on adapting and improving upon the future. So you know what? Like fuck it, we're here. Like we gotta figure out how we can get back going again. And that's why I always say the hardest part about training is getting started and committing to doing it, and asking for help. And asking for help is hard for a lot of people for many things, not just training. It's not, a lot of us have been told at a young age, like, figure it out yourself. Don't, we asking for help is a sign of weakness. It's not. Asking for help is good. I don't know how to build a space shuttle. So like I would ask
Why
someone
not?
how to do that.
No,
Yeah, why not? Exactly. Yeah.
why
Yeah,
not?
I missed that class in high school. And so that's yes, you can come back stronger from an injury. It is a very tough road, but as long as you're willing to ask for help and ask for some guidance and put in the time, you're going to come out stronger on the other side because you're going to show yourself, oh wow, like I can do something really hard. And that's again brings, the short-term goals and things like that. That's important in that time because like, yeah,
Yeah,
sure, you break your ankle, you're gonna like, oh man, I was a marathon runner, like I missed that, like when am I gonna be able to do it? I don't know. Why don't we start with let's see how long we can walk first, and then
yeah,
we'll start jogging, and then we'll start adding miles, and we'll rehab that ankle, and we'll work on all of those complementary muscles, and we will get you to run a marathon again. I don't know when that's going to be. I don't have a predictive answer as to when that's going to be because there's a give and a take in the sense that if you're not willing to put in the effort to take care of yourself and recover correctly and push yourself a little bit each time, I don't know when we're going to be there. I don't have a magic 8 ball, but we're going to get there if you're willing to work with me and put in the time.
yeah. And it's probably the most honest thing about the gym. Like, the more you put in the gym, the more you get out of it. I mean, the dumbbells
Yeah.
don't lie, the barbells don't lie, the steel does not lie. Um,
Mm-mm.
so, I mean, you're right. I mean, it all depends on that person, and how much time they actually put into the gym. You're
Yeah.
absolutely 100% right, and then that goes for
And
everybody.
being honest with yourself too, and being honest with
Yeah.
me.
No, no, yeah,
It's,
you're 100% right.
if I ask you like, hey, did you come to the gym at all? First and foremost, I can see that because there's check-in history. And then second of all, like
I'm here
you're
every
only hurting
day.
yourself.
Yeah,
Yeah, I'm here every day. You're only hurting yourself by lying, and I hate it. It relates also back to, me getting sober. Like I could have easily continued to drink and hide it if I wanted to, but like who's that gonna hurt at the end of it? I hid it for a long time. Like people had no idea that I was drinking as much as I was. And like I was a fully functioning alcoholic, and it was very surprising when people found out that like I needed to get sober. And it's the same thing. I could have hit it. Shit, I could still probably hide it if I wanted to. Like I know the ways to do it, but I'm only going to end up hurting myself and the ones I care about. And it's the same thing for any sort of progress that you want to make. Any
yeah,
sort of cheats that you do, you're only cheating yourself. I don't give a shit. If you want to go back to being the way you were, that's your call, man. Like, you're a free person. You can do whatever you want. But you came to me for asking for help, so let's get you some help.
yeah, yeah, no, I mean, it comes down to sounds like you're a humble guy, you know what I mean? I'm just gonna throw that one out there. You have a really good background, you've been through the gutters, you've been thrown around, gotten yourself out, and you're just helping everyone else that's asking for it. So, I mean,
Yeah, if they want it, I'm willing to give it, but I'm also not going to chase you down and force it down your throat because I know that that
I
doesn't work.
will. I got kids, and I will make sure they fucking get in the NFL. Like, trust me.
Different. That's different. Those are your kids. You can do it. You can do as you please.
No,
But
no, no. I know what you
for
mean. I
these
know what you
for
mean.
these total strangers that they don't they become close to me by the end of it. But in the beginning, I tell them straight out, like, hey, you're gonna get out of this what you put into it,
That's right.
and I will work as hard as you work. But at the end of the day, if you want to come in here and slack off, I'm gonna hold you accountable at first. But if it turns into a pattern, like you're only gonna be hurting yourself.
No,
This is I I'm very comfortable with where I'm at in the gym. I don't need this for myself. You need this.
yeah,
So
no, I know. And then, yeah. And I think some people even come into the gym and they're like, "Hey, I do need help. I do necessarily need help." And then they're stuck in the parking lot. They come in, they get the help, and then they don't even
I've
come to
had that
the
happen
they're in
so
the
many times.
yeah, and it's really a shame, you know what I mean? Like,
I've had to go out and get people from the parking lot. And
yeah,
like I will do that. If you ask,
yeah,
I'm not gonna say if you ask for help, I will do everything in my power to help you.
yeah,
If that means you want me to go out and pick you up from your car, I will fucking do that.
yeah,
Because like I would expect the same if I needed help in that regard, I would want that help too. And
yeah,
like whatever is gonna make you feel comfortable, I will do. I've got a new client who is like super new to the gym. She wants to lose a ton of weight but she wants everything explained to her and laid out like why are we doing this? What is this impacting? Why am I feeling it here? Great. That's fine. You're going to hear me talk
mm,
for an hour straight. I'm going to explain everything to the nth degree so you fully understand what we're
yeah,
doing. You're gonna hate it eventually because it's just gonna be like, "I know, you already told me that." Well, guess what? Then you learned, didn't you?
yeah,
So, if you want it to be explained, I will explain it. If you want me to
yeah,
sit there and be quiet and just tell you what to do, I will do that too. Like, I am here to help you reach your goals in the most practical way that you wanna achieve them. Um, you know, but if you wanna be open and try new things, we'll do that too. I'm here to help you move at the pace that you wanna move at. Um, and again, just accountability is huge, but you gotta wanna do it.
yeah. And those people who actually, you're talking about you getting them and then you actually they're coming to the gym. Those clients become the star clients.
Yeah,
And believe it or not, those become the best people in the gym. They start making the muscle. They ask the right questions because they're so
yeah,
lost and
yeah.
and if you're out
I
there
think
just
s
sitting in the car right now waiting to go in, go in. Go in.
yeah.
Dude, we're here
It's
to
not
guide
as
you.
scary. It's
Yeah.
really not as scary as, the internet or your brain has allowed you to think. No one is paying attention to anybody but themselves.
Or their
We
phone.
unfortunately are a very self-centered culture, and even more so in the gym. It's like, "Oh,
Yeah.
I'm gonna go in and everyone's gonna see me, and I don't know what I'm
No,
doing."
dude.
No one's
No.
gonna see you, man.
We're
Trust
too
me. And there
busy
are
looking at
people.
ourselves in the mirror. We can care less
Yeah.
about your 2 pounds because we're on a whole different level. Or we don't care about your 250 pounds because I'm on my way to there. I just want to look
Yeah.
good in the mirror. That's me
And I'm
personally, you
proud.
know?
I'm proud. If you are proud of it, then I'm proud of you for feeling proud of it because
Yeah.
it doesn't matter what the numbers say. If this is a heavy weight for you, great. Like if you can find an achievement somewhere, however small it is, that is huge. Like
Yeah.
that is worth celebrating. You should be thrilled. You shouldn't diminish it by saying like, "Well, the guy next to me was throwing around two plates on each side." So,
So what?
you don't know shit about that dude. He
Motherfucker's an
could be.
orange and you're an apple. Get real. Like, come on.
It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Everyone has their own path. Everyone has been doing stuff for a long
And
time.
then you got the
And
watermelon in the corner trying to figure it out, you know?
yeah, so don't, you're your own worst enemy when it comes to the fear in the gym. So come on in and just walk on the treadmill. Take a look around. Don't even worry about doing any equipment or anything like that right off the bat. If you're too afraid to even ask for help, come on in, spend 45 minutes walking at a casual pace on the treadmill and look around. Look at
Mhm.
the equipment, see what you might be comfortable trying, and then when you build up that courage and you feel like you have that map in your head, I think a big part of it is that whole lunchroom mentality where it's like I'm not going to have anywhere to sit. Like this is the first day at school. I don't know anybody. Like I don't know where to go.
Mhm.
Yeah, that sucks. That happens to me all the time too. Like I hate trying new gyms. But you
Yeah.
know what? I go in, I grab a piece of cardio equipment and I just start looking around. And I just like, all right, you know what? I think I'll go over there first. Then I'll go over there after that. If that's taken, then I'll figure it out from there. But like,
Yeah.
I'm gonna just this is my first step. and that will make it easier. And then you get into a routine, and again,
Yeah.
asking for help is super important. But if
Mhm.
you're not quite there yet and you don't want to do it, then
I
be
think
kind to yourself and just keep it simple.
yeah, and then
Because if
there's
you're trying to
other
lose a shit ton of weight, it's a little bit of movement's gonna go a long way, man. And diet is that's the biggest thing. I think people come in like, I want to lose 25 pounds in a week. And it's like, yeah, it's not going to happen. For starters. Second of all, like, if you're not going to
yeah,
track your food, we're not going to make any progress. And like, oh, I
yeah.
think that's so much effort. I don't want to track my food.
That's like
Okay. Then,
5,000 calories a day with
yeah.
the food they don't eat plus their TEE, you know what I mean? Like, that's a lot of
Yeah.
calories, like
So then just be prepared to not make any progress. And I've told people flat out right to their face, like, you not wanting to track your food is going to be your biggest hang up. I can work you out until you're blue in the face. You can come in here and think you're having a great time. You're working out. You could come in here 5 days a week and bust your ass. If you do not know what energy is going in versus what's being expelled, you're not going to make any progress. It's as simple as that. Like, how much protein did you eat today? I don't know. I think a good amount. Tell me what you ate. X, Y, and Z. I'd say that's about 80 grams. That's not enough. You weigh 340 pounds. You need to be eating more protein if you want. Like, what are we
you
doing
need
here?
about 250, 280. You know what I
So
mean,
it drives
throughout
me
the
nuts.
day.
Yeah. And it's like, again, this is your call. You do what you want to do. But I'm setting expectations in the fact that, like, you're not going to make any progress. That's
Yeah,
just not how that's going to work. And
no.
I think there's a time and a place for medications like tirzepatide, Ozempic, peptides, things like that. There are benefits to it, but it's not the answer. It's not the only thing. If you do need some help, if there's a thyroid or PCOS or some sort of issue that is preventing you from losing
A
weight, yes,
medical
there
issue. Yes, a
potential.
medical,
Yeah,
yeah.
it is not a replacement to be like, I can just eat whatever the fuck I want. I'm just gonna shoot myself up. Oh, this will be great.
Yeah, look at these dudes.
No,
Yeah.
yeah, no, 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 no. So I'm all in favor of. I don't, yes, it is a little bit of a handrail. It's a little bit of a helper. It's some people would even consider cheating. I don't really think it's cheating. I think if you're gonna do the work and you're gonna dedicate and make sure you are eating a healthy diet, it will help, and it is worth your
I
time.
would say
But
this, if you're overweight and you got knee problems and you can only be in the pool, then yeah. You know what I mean?
yeah,
Then get the little help you can, and then you can get the strength in your knees, then get off
yeah,
of it, and then go hit the
yes, it's not
treadmill, then
forever.
go start
It's not
strength
forever.
training, and
Yeah.
it's not a forever thing. You
And it's
know,
also not for it's not for, oh, I want to lose 10 pounds. That's
I
not what
need to
that's
lose
for.
250 pounds in 6 months because I have a weight loss surgery or I'm gonna die.
Yeah.
You
That then
know,
yeah, let's fucking do it, man. Let's
yeah,
shoot up. Let's
let's
let's have
do
a
it.
good
Let's
time.
lose some weight.
And
You know,
yeah, let's weigh our food, and like we're gonna whittle that down 250 calories at a time. We're not just gonna crash course it. Like, I'm not a registered dietitian, but I've got a pretty good grip on what we need to be doing.
yeah.
And I'm always happy to help. We're fortunate in the state of California that I don't need to be a registered dietitian to offer
Is that a
diet
legal thing for
advice.
yourself? No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
Yeah. No, it
I'm just
is.
covering myself, before
It
anyone
is.
reads my
Yeah. Well,
info.
because in certain states you can't.
Yeah, it's true.
NASA made sure to remind us of that.
I am not a
Um,
doctor, or well, I do have my nutrition certificate. I could talk about
I didn't get
nutrition, but
that
I'm not a
one.
diet. I'm not
I
a
haven't
licensed
got that.
dietitian. You know what I mean?
I never got my CNC. The course is still sitting in my
That's
fucking
yeah.
portal.
I
It's
just finished that
hard,
one.
man.
It's my. I just
I
finished
I
it.
I gotta buy more tests. My test expired.
Oh no! Oh
So
no!
it's okay. I got a bunch of other ones. They're all well and good, but the CNC one is just a
You
itch. And
know,
so
I I love NASA, and I did it before they did the expiration date. So I did the elite program, and then I got the
yeah,
and I was ex-military. So I got like it was like $2,000, and you get I got 5 classes, right? And I was
yeah,
like, oh, bet,
yeah.
right?
5 is crazy.
No, yeah, I got, and then I still got. Well, actually, I think it's seven. I still got three more classes to take, and they don't expire until 2028. I'm
That's
certified.
nice.
I'm so certified for the next 10 years.
Yeah,
Like I'm chilling, dude. I don't have to
yeah,
recertify for shit. But yeah,
yeah. No, I know.
it's cool.
That's yeah, true.
All right. Yeah, it looks like we talked out a lot. We talked about pain, anything. Okay, one more question. One more question before we move on.
Yeah.
What's one challenge you like everyone to do that's watching right now? What's one challenge you want them to do to get them started?
Meaning like exercise, or what do
Yeah.
you mean? Like what?
Just
What?
a challenge, you know what I mean? Like, let's do 20 squats for the next
Mhm.
20 days. You know what I mean? Like, what is a challenge that someone can do right now that can boost their confidence, get them going, and get them into the gym?
Yeah, I mean, I think with something, I think even simpler than that, realistically, just if we're gonna say something that's gonna cover everybody, because people's squat form is not always good, and
Right,
like,
right.
yeah, you could start doing squats, but like, you might end up doing more damage than you're doing good,
Yeah.
and you might get yourself into a pattern that's even harder to break. So I don't even think it's as simple as that, or excuse me, as detailed as that. You know, at a very basic sense, 10,000 steps is no joke. Like, I
No.
want people to get up and walk. And that doesn't mean like, well, I got my 10,000 steps doing laundry and like going to the grocery store. No, motherfucker. I want you to go outside and do a dedicated walk. If you don't want to do it outside, then join a gym, buy a treadmill. I don't give a shit. Like, you need to be walking. Walking is
Mhm.
huge because it's going to point out a lot of issues. If we have knee, ankle, excuse me, I'm so sorry. My lip is super itchy.
Bro,
If we have
I got a
knee,
beard, dog. You're telling me I'm trying not to
I know,
scratch it this whole
I
entire
don't. You
life.
might not even have a chin, dude. I've never even seen that.
Nah, I don't have a
But
chin. It's like, have you ever seen Men in Black with the balls and shit? You know,
yeah,
a bald chin. I won't save it.
walking is huge.
Yeah,
It's gonna if you, it's gonna point out if we've got some hip issues, knee issues, ankle issues, lower back issues, gait issues. You know, there's so many things that it can point out. That would be step. That's the easiest step that we could
yeah,
potentially accomplish. Is active, you know, effort in active, and meaning going out and like, just walking. It doesn't have to be crazy. You could go and use it as an excuse to call your relatives, call your friends, go listen to your favorite podcast, listen to some music, whatever. Doesn't matter. That's super simple. And then on top of that, if you want to take it a step further and really come in as a, you know, earning that extra credit, get a wrap on your diet and just see what you're consuming.
yeah.
You
Start
know,
writing it down.
I would really encourage people to, even if they're not prepared yet to start weighing it, just like you said, write it down. Like,
Write it
write
down.
down what
Mhm.
you ate in a day. Figure it. You're gonna get to a point where hopefully your curiosity gets piqued and you do want to start measuring and weighing and things of that nature. Start tracking how often you're going to fast food. You know, figure out and then write down that
Yeah,
dollar amount. Like,
yeah,
you should save, figure out how much you're spending on a monthly, quarterly basis on empty calories, for lack of a
yeah.
better term. And
Mhm.
I'm and alcohol too. Like,
Yeah.
you got to be honest with yourself. Like,
And
at the
weed
end of the
and
day,
drugs and let's be honest with you,
yes, yes, and
weed,
that's like
cigarettes,
weed.
alcohol.
I
Um,
fucking miss weed so much. Like, don't even get me started. I haven't smoked in over 2 years. I
yeah,
miss it so much. But for me, it was not helping. I was trying to replace alcohol with it, and like my tolerance would get super high. I was smoking way too much. That's all I cared about. And then the munchies were just a disaster.
yeah,
So like for me, I my sweet tooth would just take over. And so like, yeah, sure, there's a time and a place for marijuana, and I think it can help a lot of people.
yeah.
But if it's gonna lead you down a path of just like, oh, well, I mean, I grabbed a pack of
Self-sabotage,
Oreos and a
you
jar
know?
of peanut. Yeah, dude.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
if you cannot control those cravings, then maybe high doses of marijuana is not for you. You know,
Or you go get yourself some zero sugar cake mix and dump a
yeah.
quart, or you
There's
know what I
there's
mean? There's ways to go
there's
around
ways
it
around
too.
it.
But I will say this for you marijuana smokers, if you are trying to lose weight, the marijuana will stick to your fat cells a lot
Oh
longer.
yeah.
100%, okay, people? But yeah, I'm not saying you can't do it. I'm not saying you shouldn't do it. I'm not saying you go do it. I'm just saying it's there's pros
Everyone
and
has
cons
to
to everything you do.
figure that out for themselves.
Yeah,
I miss it a lot.
yeah.
That was one of my
And
favorite things to do for years.
And I'll be honest,
But
I smoke weed, you know what I mean? But
yeah,
I
and
smoke
that's
weed as
great.
a recovery sense, you know what I
Yeah,
mean? Like, it's for
yeah.
recovery, it's after I'm done with my macros, it's
And I wish I could do that,
yeah,
but I can't put it down.
you know?
My body does not let me stop. I will smoke until I can't even get up off the couch, and then I'll go eat 400 milligrams of
Uh,
edibles.
you're that
So
guy who's melting in the couch, you know what I
yeah,
mean?
man. Yeah, that's
Damn, you
me.
should get
Yeah,
some copyright for
downers
that
all the
commercial.
way.
Yeah, get
Yeah.
copyright. Yeah,
So yeah, I
it's not
mean
for everybody.
that's
Yeah.
no, but neither here nor there. Back to what we were saying. Like,
Mhm.
understand what's going into your body at a very basic level, and it may open your eyes to something. If
Yeah.
you realize that you're spending three, four, $500 a month on fast food, that's a super simple change to make. It's gonna take some effort, but you know what? Chicken and rice and broccoli, not $500 a month.
More
So,
like
and you know what? With
forty
now
dollars a week.
we've got air fryers, we've got crock pots, we've got ovens. There's so much shit that you can do to make your food relatively straightforward now. We don't have to cook everything over an open flame. You can set it and forget it. There's easy stuff out there. Recipes are super accessible. Rice cookers make things super, and like these things are not overly expensive. Yeah, it may be an initial upfront investment, but if you're willing, like if you have a partner and you talk to them and want to make this change together, it makes it so much easier.
Yeah,
It makes it so much easier if you have a partner to do this with. If you want to still go get pizza and have a treat every once in a while, knock yourself out. But getting a better grip on your diet, woo, and moving more, you'd be shocked at the progress the changes that you can make, even just doing that.
and that's not even working out.
Convenience.
It's just walking and diet. You'd be surprised what dramatic change that would do.
Yeah, it's not an overnight cure, but you're going to notice probably a little bit of a decrease in bloating.
Mhm.
You'll probably feel a little bit lighter.
Safety
Your bowel
puffing and yeah.
your bowel movements might be more regular. There's a lot of positive changes, and sometimes all it takes is one or two small changes to spark that interest in you to go make bigger changes.
Yeah,
You got to start somewhere, and I think going for walks and tracking your food are two really easy ways to kind of get a better grip on what's going on with your body.
I totally agree. I mean, I think that's probably some really good advice to give anybody and everybody out there. Um, yeah, I mean, I think that's it. The questions that I have for you today. I think you did fucking phenomenal. You know what I mean? I have three more questions. I put
Yeah.
that in transition in here so we can break it off, and then I have an editing
Yeah.
point. This is my editing point. But YouTube, we're still here on YouTube. You know what I mean? We're gonna be on YouTube,
Woo!
everything raw and fresh. Um, so
Subscribe, subscribe.
basically, so there we go. He said, subscribe, hit the links, whatever, and comment too. Comment your way of recovery. I want to hear
Yep.
what you guys are doing. Message to me. I want to hear what you guys are doing, and I can help you guys out. Or even you want Cameron's help. This dude's at Redlands and EOS. Okay, he's not allowed to tell you where he works. It's illegal for him. So I'm going to do him the justice. He is in California. Redlands, California, at EOS, off of Alabama on the 10 freeway. Okay, so if you have any pain, like he said, he's dealt with the elbows, I mean, the shoulders, the back, the knees, the ankles, I mean, the neck. Like we talked about it all. He's going to be able to help you in there. Okay, he will take care of you. He'll knock it out, and he'll actually make you strong too. I've seen it. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
He's taken and from someone who's had clients, who've given him clients that trust him with a lot of people, and they're still with him. Shout out to you, Laura.
Yeah.
Who's still kicking. I mean, and we were talking about the therapy. Yeah, 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 yeah. She knows. But one more question. What does the word or what does becoming elite mean to you? What does elite mean to you?
Yeah, that is a super good question. I think a level of elite is confidence. I think being sure of what you're doing is pretty elite. But that doesn't mean cocky. I think it's being very sure of whether it's the application that you're doing or the advice that you're giving. It's mastering the knowledge and the application of what you're trying to do, whether it's in fitness or whether it's in work or whether it's in anything really. You want to be an elite gardener, well, then you better fully understand soil and plants and light and bugs and all that stuff. And it's having a full and complete grasp on your topic of interest that to me makes someone elite.
Someone who mastered their craft, regardless of what
Yep.
it is. I mean, it
Yep.
could be from literature to farming to personal training to being a firefighter. I mean, it
Yep.
just opens up. There's a world of elite people out there, and there's a lot of people who are elite. Keep being elite, and yeah, I mean, I think we had a wonderful podcast. I'm going to be sharing this on YouTube, chopping it up, all
Woo.
that good stuff. If you enjoyed this episode, make sure you like, subscribe. We can definitely benefit from that, and we will be back We will have a next episode next week, but we'll be recording shortly. If you have any questions, let me know. Find me on TikTok. Other than that, Cameron, I hope you have a wonderful day and happy fourth. You know, I must
Happy
salute
4th
you.
to
You know, in
you.
the military shit.
Yeah,
Happy
yeah.
250 years. You know what I'm saying?
That's true. That's
Yeah.
true.
So, and then I'll be talking to you tomorrow. We have another
Yep.
one tomorrow, 10 o'clock, right?
Yeah.
Perfect. 10 o'clock. We'll be talking about the other episode, and then other than that, dude, go enjoy your fireworks, man. I'll be talking to you
You too,
shortly.
man. Yes, sir.
All right, brother.
Peace out.
Cheers.